guys, welcome to a new assignment for my Game Maker class or Intro to Game Development class. In this assignment, I'm gonna have you guys make the game Plants vs. Zombies. I'm really excited about it, as you hopefully can tell. And if you've never heard of Plants vs. Zombies before, this was a very popular casual game. Um, yeah, in the game you basically plant a whole bunch of plants, like the sunflowers or the pea shooters here, and those plants will they will repel zombies for you. It's kind of a weird little game if you've never seen this before, but you have zombies coming in from the right, and you got all these slots where you can pick up sun, and you can use the sun to buy more plants, and the pea shooters will shoot peas at the zombies and destroy them, and the sunflowers will basically accumulate more sun. And there's also just sun falling down randomly and so forth. So this is pretty much what you see on screen right now. It's pretty much what we're going to be making, with a couple of minor things that we're not going to get into. But it's Plants vs. Zombies. It's really awesome. I'm going to fast forward in this YouTube video a little bit, and you'll see there's like a whole bunch of different types of plants that you can make. These are just like beginner style plants. Even like in Plants vs. Zombies too, you have so many different plants, and also a lot of variety in the zombies. Like there's a pole vaulter here and everything, or zombies that wear cones on their heads that make them harder to defeat and so forth. Anyways, play this game if you've never played it before. It's really good, especially the first one. I'm not a big fan of the latter ones because they kind of turn into pay to play type of games, but oh my gosh, when this came out, it took the world by storm. I wasn't the only person loving it. It was a really big hit. Anyways, let's look behind the hood, and let's get you guys to make this game. Hello. We're about to launch an all-out attack on your house. Sincerely, the zombies. So, all right, I'm gonna kill this here, and Game Maker. Haha. So, obviously, I've already made the project. So we're gonna start a new project here. Make sure to save a lot. Just gonna give it a random name. I always save a lot of versions actually of every game that I make. I kind of recommend that you guys do the same thing. There should be a bunch of assignments in already, so I'm gonna go a little bit faster on this one. But at the same time, this project, in terms of complexity, is, in my opinion, less complicated than the second assignment that you did. I have my reasons for doing things this way. I just want the midterm to be a fair grade, I guess, and that's why the second assignment is harder than the third assignment. Anyways, there's a couple of really cool things that we're going to be doing here. And in case that wasn't really clear, because you don't really know the gameplay of Plants vs. Zombies is actually a tower defense game. But with the stuff that we're going to learn in here, as you can see, I've got a game of StarCraft 2 running right now, which is a real-time strategy game. A lot of the things that we are going to be doing in this game will carry over to making a real-time strategy game. So if you put everything that we've seen in this class and the assignments together, you could just as well make a real-time strategy game or an RPG or a tower defense game. Well, Plants vs. Zombies already is a tower defense game. But anyway, so just wanted to point that out really quickly. In terms of genres, even though it looks cutesy and casual, what you're doing behind the screen, building, well, a base of plants and fighting off incoming troops. Well, if you make it a multiplayer experience, it's really close to real-time strategy games as well. So just a quick side note for the gamers amongst you guys, because it might not be clear to everybody why I picked specifically these games. But by taking this class, you've basically done a top-down RPG. You have done a 2D fighting game that has the same mechanics as a side-scrolling game would, and now we are doing more like a real-time strategy, tower defense type of game with base building and a lot of GUI stuff and everything. GUI meaning graphical user interface, but I'll get to that later. So anyways, that's my introduction for this. All right, let's get started here. So I think the first thing that I would like for you guys to do, and I'm not going to hold your hand entirely, is to import sprites. We've got a lot of sprites for this game, and let's just import all of them and get it over with. I'm going to do one in case you forgot how it worked. So SP shooter. So that's the first one that I'm going to do. And for the pea shooter, I am going to import, let's see, in the resources section, you'll find a folder named plants. And you actually get all these little images. Now, I've provided all of these so that you can customize your graphics if you like. You know, you can make the pea shooter blink with these two images in there, for example. Could be really cool. Another thing that I'm going, and yeah, there's more images than what I'm going to be using in this tutorial. Let me put it that way. I just got as many of the images as I possibly could gather so that you guys can make the game as polished as you like. Now, I am the last video in this series that I'm going to do is going to be an optional one, and I'm going to show you guys how to do skeletal animation with GameMaker and another software package named Spine. Now, the reason why I'm not I used to incorporate Spine as part of the tutorial when I did my GameMaker 1.4 videos. I'm not doing it anymore because IT at Miami sometimes ran into issues with Spine, and then it was working and then it wasn't working, and some students just want to work from home and then they run into the limitations of the trial version of Spine and so forth. So I'm going to make that part optional, but if you with Spine you can really do a lot of awesome animation stuff, so I'll just do that way in the back in a separate video. And then yeah, all these things become really cool because then you can just make your own animations for the pea shooter. However, right now we are just going to import this little pea shooter. Um, yeah, we just want to import it like that. Pretty straightforward. It's 104 to 25. For my reference point, we're gonna put it because we're gonna work with a grid here. We're gonna drop the plants on the lawn in a grid kind of format. So I want that top left origin point, reference point right there. Okay. And I think that's basically all I want from you guys for the pea shooter right now. Is just one frame. That's all we're going to do. So I'm magically going to conjure up a bunch of sprites by pausing the recording and just bringing all the other ones over. So there. So I'll open each and every one of them briefly so you can kind of check the settings. So again, the origin point from a zombie is between his feet, so I got it at 80, 146, so make sure you put that down there. Aside from that, it's just this one image that you'll also find in the folder. For this guy, 80, 146 is the reference point, so zombie regular eating. For the sunflower, top left reference point, it's 105, 124 image. Sun, so these are the sun actually has a little bit of animation on it as that star becomes bigger and smaller. So if you open up the resource folder, you'll see I have a sun 1 and a sun 2. So I want you to import both of those in here. It's not through the import thing, you have to add them as sub images and then bring them in. So yeah, I want your sun to be doing this type of thing. You can put the speed at 1 and, oh, actually probably let's put the speed at something higher than 1. Let's put it at 10 or something. Oh, that's still too fast, like 30? Oh, that makes it faster? Jeez. I kind of want him to do the animation slow. Like, let's do 0.1. Yeah, that's better. So 0.5? No, that's still too fast. 0.3. That's too fast. 0.2. Yeah, okay, I kind of like this. I like 0.1 better now. No, 0.2. Alright, sorry guys. Sorry. But just put the speed at 0.2 for your sun, and that will give you this effect, and that's nice. Okay? So yeah, let's see what else we got. So I did the sunflower, I did the pea. The pea is just basically, make sure your reference point's in the middle, not in the top left as it says here. It will be middle center. Then the GUI. So yeah, this is what we're going to be using for graphical user interface. So like this is the user interface that's going to be shown on screen. And it's not really animated. Well, we are going to animate it. We're going to draw over it, similar to how it works in Plants vs. Zombies, but it's just a static image really, yeah. So yeah, find this in your resources and just add it. Reference point, I think is top left. Is it up here? Yeah, it's up there. So top left. And then we got the lawn, and the lawn is just a really big image that we're going to be using for our background, okay? You can set the texture settings to tile horizontally and tile vertically. Doesn't matter, we're going to scale it out anyways. And reference point top left. Now, one other thing we need to look at, for the pea shooter, collision mask is just automatic. For the zombies, collision mask is set at, it's set at manual, okay. So, yeah, so for the zombies, this is where we're gonna get collision with plants and everything going at that spot. So you can set it up like this, and your collision will be fine. I might come back to that later, but this is where we're going to track whenever a zombie is colliding with a flower. For this guy, same thing. You just move it down here. You can actually drag it and everything. So just make sure it looks similar to what you got here. Okay, that the black area is kind of similar. Like, you know, see, you can drag it out and stuff. So, anyways. Sunflower. Collision mask probably the entire plant. Yep. Alright. Sun, I don't know if the collision mask matters for that one. Probably not. I don't think that really matters. For the bee, the collision mask shouldn't matter, so that's... Oh, we're also just going with the full thing. You could put it, for the bee, you could kind of say like, okay, let's make my collision mask a circle. But like, you know, ellipse is slower than rectangle, and since it's just a small object, I mean, if it hits a zombie here, it doesn't really matter for our game. So yeah, and that's our setup for the sprites. So I think the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up our room. Or actually, you know, when Plants vs. Zombies, let's make it thematic. Let's set up our lawn. Yeah, so let me check. Okay, I'm about 11 minutes in on this video. So yeah, we're gonna try to get as much of the tedious stuff done first. Oh wait, I can show you something really cool first too. So for the sprites, you know, you guys have probably been using Create Sprite to get all your sprites in there by now, and I just want you to know, you can also, if you have a project that contains sprite, if you want to import a sprite from one project to the other project, like say, you know, you have a game in which you already have these sprites set up and you want to take them from that other, you can use add existing. And with add existing, you can just go into, like this one here, 2 plants and 1 zombie is the full project that I made. There you will see the same structure as your resources. If you go to sprites, all your sprites will be there. And you can double click, like if I double click on the sunflower one, it will literally add this with all the options already set the way you like it. So if you just go to the finished project, you can just add existing, and it's way faster than setting everything up manually. But I kind of intentionally want you to do it manually because it's good exercise. I mean, if this is truly your third game in Game Maker, you probably need more exercise putting sprites together and everything. But yeah, just so you know, if at some point you lose your sprites and you have a backup, you can just do add existing so that you don't have to go through all the settings anymore, okay? So just a little pro tip there. Actually, yeah, no, I'm going to do the lawn first, and then we'll do the objects. So for my lawn, okay, so we got this thing here. I'm zooming out. That's Control and my middle mouse, or you can use these things here. Now, first off, I want you to set this thing, and you can kind of look at this as a test because you've done this in the previous assignments, like everything in this video I've done before. So this is kind of testing you. If you get stuck with it, you can check one of the previous assignments for how you did these things entirely again. But for now, well, you can, I mean, I kind of showed you how to do the pea shooter and how to set everything, so you're probably good. But I want you to set the width and the height of your room somewhere, and like when I tell you to do something, you could might as well just pause it, do it, and then you know, and then you can fast forward through the video. So yeah, I'm going to set the width and the height, and the numbers that we're going to be using are the ones from the lawn sprite, so that comes down to 2,631 and 988 as my height. Okay. Now in terms of my grid, I don't know if it really matters the grid size right now. Yeah, it's just the image. Like I don't think I'm actually really using the grid in this one. We'll see. So for the background, we can drop that sprite in there, so the lawn sprite, and that should match up really nicely. Okay. Oh yeah, I made the grid disappear clicking that button. So the horizontal tile and the vertical tile, you could use those things, but we don't really need it right now. The only time when that becomes useful is like, say I got like a 5,000 width room. See, by clicking those options for like horizontal, it'll duplicate it and it will use it as a tile image. But we don't need that right now. We can keep it at 2,631, and this is going to be where our game is going to be at. Now, the one thing is though, if you remember the video that I just showed you, everything in this game is going to happen in here. Like this is the playing field. This here is the setup stage for the zombies, so the zombies will be here. And this is where, well, when a zombie manages to get through the lawn, he'll walk up to the house, walk into the door, and will eat your brains. It's what zombies do, okay? So, Anyways, we basically want our camera just to be on this thing, because if you run the game right now, so I just pressed F5, it'll show you everything. Like, it'll show you a really big map, and we don't want that. We want everything to be zoomed in on here. So, how do we set that up? Well, to set that up, we use views. And you can find those in your room settings. So if I bring up my room settings, viewports and cameras, and we enable the viewport, okay? So yeah, in case, let me get the help open real quick. Oh, good, my internet's working. I was a little worried because if it's not, it's kind of. So what we are going to be working with is, so you got your view cameras, and that's kind of how you should look at it in GameMaker. Like, as soon as you enable viewports, you have a camera that, and your level is bigger than the view that the camera actually gets. So it becomes a projection. And you can have multiple viewports. Like, for example, this is a game in which this is all part of one level, and you have one part here and one part there. So it's really cool stuff. I don't know if there's more information in here. I'll just show you how this stuff works. So okay, so we're gonna enable viewports. So we're gonna go to viewport 1, and let me check my settings here. So oh, actually, we can also clear the viewport background. So I don't remember exactly what I think it's just your viewport gets a different background, but we're not really using it. And then viewport 0. So I opened up viewport 0. This is the one we're going to be using for our game. So you can kind of look at these as different cameras, even though they're not really cameras. But you know, there's like 7 that you can use. You might be able to add more. I don't know. But we're going to use viewport 0 as our main camera. And if when you click visible, it'll pick out a certain spot on your screen that it will be using and that you will be seeing when you're running the game. Like, if I press F5 now, I think you should already see that happening. See? So now my game is in here, and even though there's way more stuff going on around it, it's, yeah, that's what's happening. So now the only thing is I kind of want to move this to a better spot. So you can mess with it yourself if you like. I'm just going to give you the coordinates that I'm going to be using. So it's going to be 155 wide, it's going to be 866 high, and I'm just trying to mimic the Plants vs. Zombies screen as much as I can here, okay? Now, my X position is at 630 and my Y position is at 10, so that's where my viewport is right now. Now, the only thing that you need to realize here is the difference between a camera and a viewport. So the camera is the part of your game that, well, you're going to show on screen, really, okay? So the camera, when I set the X position, the Y position, the width, and the height, I know I said viewport earlier because like these terms don't really mean that much to me. I just set it up the way I like, and I just use these words interchangeably. But in reality, the camera is what I've just set up. And this is the area where we're looking at. So that's your camera. The viewport, however, is how that translates to the monitor. So my viewport is going to be 1024 by 786. Because that's a really good monitor dimensions. Now you could just as well be like, let's make it full HD. Then it would be 1920 by 1080. That's the resolution of full HD. Like you know, if you have a full HD television, that's the resolution that it uses. 1920 by 1080. So 1920 pixels on the horizontal axis and 1080 on the vertical. So if I press play now, my monitor is 1080p. So yeah, this thing just basically fills up my entire monitor. Well, I guess my monitor is slightly wider or something. But yeah. Now, for easier working around the game, I really recommend just using this setting. And it's the proportion is similar to, well, an older format computer. It's not widescreen, but this is kind of the format that Plants vs. Zombies runs in natively. Yeah, if you want, I mean, if you wanted to put in 4K, you could do that as well, and we're talking about 3,000 plus pixels. So anyways, so that's how we set up our camera. It's really cool. Now, just quick note, if you would want to make a game in which you have a lead character that you want the camera to follow, you have object following here, and you can put an object in there and just select one. And mess with the settings a little bit, and none. And then the camera will automatically follow an object. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so yeah, nice job, guys. You guys set up a camera now. So that's really cool because that means we can move the camera around and all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, when I press F5, I get this on screen now. All right. Sweet. So let's import the objects here. So I'm going to create my first object, and the first object that I am going to do is I'm going to create my, let's see, yeah, let's start with just the basics. So a pea shooter. So I'm going to call a guy, oh, no, peace guider, like what? I don't even know. So pea shooter. And for the pea shooter, you can just use the pea shooter sprite, all default settings. I'm just gonna click duplicate. So sunflower. So add the sunflower, and well, I'll just put them in manually in the video so you guys can just follow along. So we're gonna do plant, and plant is gonna have no sprites. So if you remember the previous video, we're gonna use plant as the daddy of, or the mommy, you know, the parent of the pea shooter. So you can add the sunflower. No, I did it wrong. So I need to add sunflower and pea shooter. So we're gonna have a plant object that has gonna have code that is gonna be inherited by both the pea shooter and the sunflower. So, and actually we'll add a group, and we're going to call these plants, and get all of those, put them in plants. There you go. You can close this again. What else? Let's add a group called other, and then here we're going to put the other stuff we need for interactions. So let's create another object, and this object is going to be OP because we're going to have to shoot bees at some point. And then we're going to create an object called OSun, which is basically just going to be our raises sun. There we go. And yeah, I think I'm happy with this for a first video. So coming up next, we're gonna put that interface thingy again together, the GUI, the graphical user interface. We'll make those objects probably pretty soon now, and we're gonna have pea shooters and sunflowers being dragged from the user interface onto the map, and that's probably gonna be my next video. So I'll see you there. Bye bye.